Hello everyone, my name is Mary, thank you for joining in. This video I'm going to dedicate to reading some of the books that Maeve Wiley from Sex Education reads. So Maeve is a strong female character who loves to read about strong female characters. Maeve is quite an avid reader and we can often see her with the books and can actually see what she's reading. So here I have an article about every book Maeve reads and references by Katie Yee, so thanks to her. Obviously not gonna read all of the books, but the three books that I chose for this video are A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, Othello by Shakespeare, and The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. The book that I've already started is The Bell Jar, so far so good, and I'm going to update you on my progress. At the end of this video I'm going to conclude what I think about these books and also what I think about Maeve, judging by the books, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm reading Othello right now, and it just had this conversation that I liked, so I thought I'm gonna share. So Othello has a wife, Desdemona, and one guy spread a rumor that Desdemona cheated on Othello when she actually did not. And so Desdemona is talking with her bestie, Emilia, discussing this rumor and saying that, like, oh my god, who spread this rumor? I would have never cheated on my husband, not even if someone offered me the whole universe for it. And then she's asking Emilia, like, Emilia, would you cheat on your husband if someone offered you the whole universe? I know you wouldn't. And Emilia is like, well, the whole universe, might as well. Then she's saying, like, of course I wouldn't cheat if someone offered me like a ring or a dress or something, but the whole universe, like, hold on, I'm gonna read the quote. So Desdemona is asking, wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world? And Emilia is responding, the world's a huge thing, it is a great price for a small vice. And then she's basically saying, if she had the whole universe, then her sin of cheating on her husband would be a part of the universe that would be in her hands. So she could have made anything with it. She could have even given the universe to her husband, and she thinks that he'd be okay with it if he had the whole universe. So that was just a fun conversation that I thought I should share with you. Finished reading Othello right now. Did not expect it to end like this. Spoiler alert, but Desdemona dies. Othello also dies. Emilia also dies. Oh, let's hear what Maeve has to say about Othello herself. She reads an essay that she wrote for Ruby, I believe, and there she says, the women in both Othello and Much Ado aim to take control over whom they marry. Desdemona's decision to marry Othello against her father's wishes was so singular that it is almost transcendent. Well, yeah, I guess it is, but also, was she not killed by Othello as well? And I thought that either Desdemona is gonna tell Othello that, like, I did not cheat on you, so shut up, or Othello is gonna finally realize that Desdemona just did not cheat on him and gonna, like, say sorry at least, but no. He has to kill her, and only then did he realize that she did not actually cheat on him. My favorite character is definitely Emilia. She's been bestie till the very end. When she was dying as well, she said that she wants to be near Desdemona, so love that. But also every single man character in Othello is so misogynistic, from her father to the Othello himself. Her father says at the very beginning that, like, you're lucky, Desdemona, that you don't have sisters, because if you had a sister, then I would have raised her like she was in prison just because you're marrying a guy that you actually want to marry. So great father figure. Iago, of course, I'm like not even gonna get started on him. He's obviously the main villain. Cassio is also not the best. I thought that he and his love interest is gonna be like a cute couple, but no. My favorite quote is probably Emilia's words. Twillow, I peace. No, I will speak as liberal as the north. Let heaven and men and devils, let them all cry shame against me, yet I'll speak. I liked this part. So yeah, that's all. Finished reading The Bell Jar, and wow, I think this is it. I think I found my favorite book. I really loved it. If you don't know what The Bell Jar is about, it's telling the story of a woman, Esther, who wants to become a poet. And at first she's just spending time with her friends, going on dates and different events. But then she falls into depression, starts having suicidal thoughts. Then she actually goes to the hospital, and we see her life there, her thoughts, her everyday life. I really loved the plot itself, the narrative. Also, I noticed that the novel is partly autobiographical, from the fact that Sylvia Plath actually had depression and wanted to end her life with the same ways that Esther wants to the fact that Sylvia's father was like a professor in bees or something, and it's mentioned in the novel that Esther's father is also studying insects, was studying insects. I loved it. I found it very interesting, grappling. So yes, a really good book. My favorite quote. I'm reading the quotes that I've marked and literally having butterflies in my stomach. I liked the quote, "If you expect nothing from somebody, you are never disappointed," because that's exactly how I view everything in my life. Never expect anything, just so that I'm not disappointed at the end. Also, she had a quote in the beginning going something like, there must be some problems that can be solved with a hot bath, but I don't know any of them, because relatable, having a hot bath is my main coping mechanism. The bell jar itself is a metaphor of having a depression, so I also like this quote. "To the person in the bell jar, blank and stopped as a dead baby, the world itself is a bad dream." And also this one, "Wherever I sat on the deck of a ship or at a street cafe in Paris or Bangkok, I would be sitting under the same glass bell jar, stewing in my own sour air." I loved it. I really loved the writing. Well, it feels kind of weird saying this. Like, of course, it's a good book. You can chill with complimenting a good book. Everyone knows it's a good book. Just I really loved it. Every metaphor, every exaggeration was on point. So yeah, I had a very good time reading it. It was a very enjoyable experience. I would definitely recommend reading this book if you have not yet. I want to reread it now, even though I literally just finished it. Also forgot to say that her boyfriend, well, her ex-boyfriend, Buddy Willard, is just the definition of mansplaining. He obviously thinks that he's way smarter than Esther, always trying to teach her something, trying to kind of show off. And also I just forgot to say that a big point of the book was that women are told from a very young age that their main purpose in life should be to raise children, to give birth, to marry someone well. And Esther just doesn't feel like she wants to do any of it, and everyone seems to think that she's crazy because of it. But she's often saying that she's not gonna marry, she knows that she doesn't want that. And she sees examples of bad marriage all around her. She sees her mom not really being happily married, and she just knows that for her, marriage and children would be a big burden. And also after finishing the book, I went on Goodreads to read some reviews on it, and most of them were positive, of course, but
there were some bad reviews. One of them was saying that like I didn't enjoy the book and I prefer childbirth. And well, so do I. I don't mind giving birth and having a husband. Just when you're reading a book that's written from a very different perspective, isn't it interesting to listen to a different opinion that you haven't lived with? And also you can't deny that it is a big part of a woman's life, being constantly reminded that you have to have a husband and a child, and that's a lot of pressure, obviously. So yeah, once again, I really loved the book. It was a very interesting read. It was very on point. Okay, bye!
Finished A Room of One's Own, so now I can make my final conclusions. But first, what did I think about A Room of One's Own? So it's an extended essay of Virginia Woolf. It was an interesting yet not an easy read, which once again proves us that Maeve is not scared of complex ideas. Why does it called A Room of One's Own? Because Virginia Woolf says in this extended essay that for a woman to write or to create something of her own, it would be enough to just have her own room. And then she refers to famous female writers who at the time didn't even have their own room to just sit there and write. And they had to write their novels somewhere in living rooms with all the people around them. So in this essay, Virginia Woolf refers to a lot of literature and talks about what she's found in library about women and by women. Somewhere at the beginning she says what she found written about women, so I'm gonna read a little to you. To show the state of mind I was in, I will read you a few of them, explaining that the page was headed quite simply Woman and Poverty in block letters. But what followed was something like this. Condition in Middle Ages of Flits in the Fiji Islands of worshipped as goddesses by, weaker in moral sense than idealism of, greater consciousness of, South Sea Islanders, age of puberty among, attractiveness of, offered as sacrifice to, small size of brain of, profounded subconscious of, less hair on the body of, mental, moral and physical inferiority of, love of children of, greater length of life of, weaker muscles of, strength of, affection of, vanity of, higher education of, Shakespeare's opinion of, Johnson's opinion of, Mr. Oscar Browning's opinion of. So, wild. My favorite quote was definitely this one. Speaking crudely, football and sport are important. The worship of fashion, the buying of clothes, trivial. I liked what Virginia said about how men write their novels and their characters, that a lot of plot is centered around the writer himself. And even if there's a female character, she is lost in the shade of a male character. Even the female character has her own opinion, she's drowned in other male characters' opinion. Then Virginia Woolf headed to the library section of works that were written by people who were living at the time she was living at, and she started to read one woman's novel, and she was surprised to see that a character, Chloe, liked a character, Olivia. I liked how Virginia Woolf prepared the readers for what's gonna happen next. I turned the page and read. I'm sorry to break off so abruptly. Are there no men present? Do you promise me that behind that red curtain over there the figure of Sir Charles Byron is not concealed? We're all women, you assure me? Then I may tell you that the very next words I read were these. Chloe liked Olivia. Do not start, do not blush. Let us admit in the privacy of our own society that these things sometimes happen. Sometimes women do like women. Then she also said that this is something very groundbreaking and have not been shown before in literature. Chloe and Olivia I read. And then it struck me how immense a change was there. Chloe liked Olivia perhaps for the first time in literature. And I thought it was quite modest of her to think that that's shown for the first time, because a few years before she wrote A Room of One's Own, she published Mrs. Dalloway, where the main character, Clarissa, also had a crush on her friend, Sally. And I like the part at the very, very end where Virginia Woolf was saying that now that women have access to education, have their own rooms, can have their own salary and keep their own money, now that they're not that dependent on their husbands or fathers, there are no excuses for us not to do something as groundbreaking as men were doing for the past centuries. It was very motivating, very inspirational. Also, Virginia said that in 100 years, women are probably gonna be so much more different, and the situation itself is gonna be so much more different. Even if one could state the value of any one gift at the moment, those values will change. In a century's time, very possibly, they will have changed completely. Moreover, in 100 years, I thought, reaching my own doorstep, women will have ceased to be the protected sex. So yeah, we'll hope so, and look forward to it. I think that was the book that Jackson read to impress Maeve, and he also, if I'm not mistaken, he said that Virginia Woolf was Beyonce of her time. Well, I don't know if I understand this comparison completely, so I'm not sure if I can agree with it. Overall, what I think about this experience, I really enjoyed it. I found my new favorite book. It was very interesting reading about women by women. I love Maeve as a character, and this once again proved me that she's a great character. Out of the 3 books that I read for this video, I will definitely recommend you The Bell Jar, again if you haven't read it yet. Once again, I think that Maeve is very interesting, very strong indeed, and very striving for knowledge. Thank you everyone for watching. Follow me on Goodreads if you want. So yeah, that's it. See you next time. Bye bye.